You composed under Rimsky-Korsakov's aegis about 4 or 5 works, and each one goes very, very fast and towards your own personality and your own style. And I think probably the most remarkable of those is the Fireworks.
Yeah, it was performed in St. Petersburg, and it was very well performed. This huge orchestra, 6 horns and so on, very effectful. And Diaghilev was there, and he was very impressed. And immediately afterwards, he wants to ask me something. He was very, of course, very interested to do something for Diaghilev. And he asked me just to make some instrumentation of Chopin.
Yes. What sort of an impression did Diaghilev make on you that first time when you saw him? A dilettante, or what, did he really know what he wanted?
It was a kind of Oscar Wilde. Yeah. Oh, it was very elegant, very chic, and very distant. It was a dandy, very distant, and very smiling and protecting. Yeah. This style. But at the same time, he knew very well what he had in mind, and he was rather elogious, you know, and for somebody who was just 24 years old or 25 years old, was very flattering, because Diaghilev was a very well-known person at this moment. And he had his scandals with the Imperial Opera and Imperial Director of the Opera and so on, because of Nijinsky and all this. It was a very interesting period, I must say, and I was flattered and very happy to do it.
How did it come about that after that, then, that you wrote the Firebird for him?
Because after this season, this was the season of spring in Paris, spring 1909. And immediately when he came back, he wanted to see me and to make the season 1910. And for 1910, he commissioned me the Firebird.
Petrushka followed the Firebird, and the Sacre du Printemps, the Rite of Spring, followed Petrushka. And they were probably the most notorious musical events of the early part of the century. And I'm sure Diaghilev was pleased, especially with the publicity about the scandal of the Rite of Spring.
Yeah, he was very pleased indeed. But he was not so much pleased by something that happened a year later. It was the same Sacre du Printemps at the concert in Paris also. Monteux conducted it. It was such a triumph. You cannot imagine. The public took me, raised me on the arms and went in the street, and I saw a mass of police protecting me. It was really a very big triumph, this moment. And Diaghilev was furious, because the triumph was not in his ballet, but in an organization. And it was a pure jealousy. And so I tried to smooth the whole thing by telling him that I will give him, for the next season, my new opera, the Rossignol. And so it was in 14. And he performed the Rossignol. We went to London. We performed it in London. I came back to Switzerland, and little by little we formed a kind of group of painters around us, and a group of friends like Cocteau. Who else? It was Picasso, of course.
He did this portrait of you at that time.
Yeah, exactly. No, a little bit later.
1917.
Yeah.